And what up everybody's Anime Junkie, and today we're doing What If Deku Went Back in Time Part 3, and now let's get to the video.
もしも僕が今晩のカレーを残さず食べたならよかったのかな君はひどく顔をしかめてもう食べなくていいよって言ったんだっけな
Okay guys, before I start, let me tell you the like goal for this video is 1,500 likes. If you guys get that, I will make another part within this week. Oh, there's one more thing I need to tell you is that these two series, which is What If Deku Went Back in Time and What If Naruto Went Back in Time, are the only two series that are continuing on my channel right now. After these two or any one of these series are finished, then they will either be replaced by an older series that I have on my channel which isn't finished yet, or a brand new series that I've thought of, and that's going to continue unless there's some different series that are finished and is going to be replaced again and again until all the series on my channel are finished and completed so I can start off brand new. And that is also the time where I'm going to start adding different type of content, like talking about some actual series, talking about them, not actually talking about the timeline and the story, and not what ifs or anything like that, talking about the characters, what my opinions are on it, and the future chapters that are gonna come out. So those type of contents I'm gonna do after I finished every single series on my channel, that the ones that are viewable right now, because I know a lot of you have been questioning why I privated those. It's because of the COPPA law. I had to take down some of my videos so I won't get fined for every single video on my channel, which is gonna be crazy. So that's why I had to take them down, and I've been avoiding it, but now I'm telling you guys that that was the reason why I took them down, because of the COPPA law. Oh, and don't worry, scripts are also coming back, because I've been taking a break from it because I wanted to catch up to when I stopped making videos, because there was this time where I didn't make any videos at all, so I wanted to catch up to like uploading regularly again. So I stopped making scripts again so I can just like talk and don't be conflicted on just reading something in front of me, because it's a much slower process with the scripts. So yeah, after this video, scripts are gonna come back, and if you hear anything in the background, just ignore it. Sorry about that, because I bought a new filter online and the previous one is already broken, so I can't really use that anymore. So if you hear anything in the background, just ignore it. I'm really sorry about it, but it's probably gonna come in somewhere at the start of June. So that's when my filter is gonna come in and the audio quality is gonna get better. Anyways, let's get started. Sorry about that, and I just have to get that through. But last time, Deku and Bakugo are going through their 10 months training, and before that, I still need to tell something that happened before the 10 months of training. Deku actually met All Might because All Might came back to the city again in their region because he's becoming a teacher at UA, and the way All Might actually taught Deku when he had the quirk, or his one for all ability, not ability, quirk, he was very on and off with his training because he had to go back to his own agency and work on hero stuff, and now his time limit is decreased, so he would only sometimes, maybe twice a year, would come and visit Izuku and give him some history about One For All, or maybe even teach him some tips on it, how to use it, how to channel it, but he didn't really need that because Deku already had his training with the future All Might. So this specific time, All Might is coming back, and this is also the time where Bakugo actually found out that Izuku is actually staying overtime and studying with All Might, and that's how he found out where All Might would have the small sessions of himself like posing whenever he's saying something impactful, so he would go into muscle form and say something, or teaching something to Izuku. He would have this moments where he would just activate One For All again and it will become muscly. So that is the point where Bakugo would just sneak up and see All Might and with his full glory and Deku talking to him. So he'd question Deku after the whole thing, maybe the next day, what's happening, and Deku would finally explain it, because this is a different Bakugo. They have a better relationship, there are better rivals this time, and Deku wasn't afraid of telling Bakugo because he was used to Bakugo knowing about it. So when Bakugo found this, he actually went into like a week of small depression or something, not like there is any such thing as a big depression or small depression, but it wasn't that much fatal to him because he eventually got over it. Because first he started thinking, it was like, okay, this is Deku who doesn't even have a quirk, only knows martial arts, he can somewhat keep up with me, but I can still get better than him because my quirk's gonna eventually get really strong. And then Deku ended up mysteriously getting a quirk, and now he's way stronger than Bakugo, and now he feels threatened. But now, not only does he know that his quirk is from All Might himself, his idol, he also found out that he can get extra quirks from the previous vestiges or users of One For All. I think I forgot to tell you already, but Deku actually told All Might when he came back that he is getting extra quirks, and he didn't actually tell him because he wasn't here. Remember, All Might is an on and off teacher. So he would tell him that I developed the Black Whip quirk, he also developed the Float quirk, and then he also developed the self-regeneration quirk. So then All Might would be going into his like basement or whatever, wherever his computer is inside his house, and he would start doing research on the previous users of One For All and what their quirks were, just like in the manga. And I think also All Might would allow Bakugo to know that Deku has his quirk and he got it from him and the previous users and whatever, and the quirks also come from the previous vestiges and stuff. So Bakugo would go through like this depression stage because he would think like, okay, this Deku who was like not even insect to me now is so untouchable that he can't even understand it anymore, because not only does he have like one quirk which is strong, which is All Might's quirk, he also has different other quirks to help him out in battle. Not only that, his martial art is better than his, and he just outclasses him in many ways now. So Baku would come out of depression. He's like, I don't care anymore, All Might's already untouchable to me and I swore to beat him one day. Now Deku is here and he's already untouchable to me, but I'll also swear to beat him one day. He would start getting motivated more and work really hard now, because he would actually branch off into different things like battle strategy, fighting strategy, his fighting instincts and all that. He would focus on those things, and he can just focus on anything else that he doesn't have. So he can focus on his quirk, battle strategies, battle instincts, martial arts, and intelligence. So those are the only things that he can work on right now, and he's gonna improve that. Now let's actually get to Midoriya's or Izuku's or Deku's main plan into stopping all the League of Villains that are gonna happen in the future. And remember, when Izuku actually came back in time, he was actually in front of the doctor who was, and spoiler alert, he was in front of the doctor who created the all Nomus and everything, the high-end Nomus and the normal Nomus, and the one that was fighting All Might, he was the one who created them. So after him studying martial arts and all that, he also learned how to hide his presence, just like Toga in the future, but he doesn't know it's Toga or whatever. He knows that this is one of the students in the other hero high schools. I forgot the high school's name, but whatever. But yeah, he learns how to hide his presence and sneaks into the hospital and actually puts a tracker inside, don't think it that way, no, inside like the skin or something in the hand, a tracker which he after knocks out the doctor after getting behind him, knocking him out, putting a tracker inside of him, and he starts following the doctor around and finding the specific location he's visiting the often or the most often and putting trackers on that area. And he's done this by the time like he was 11, so he's done this a long time ago, and he has every area and he has put a tracker there, also the area where Baku was taken and where the heroes actually raided it, and also the area where All Might fought All For One. So now let's actually move on to Night-Eye's case, because before the 10 months and a long time before, when Mirio was still in his second year in high school or in UA high school, and he still doesn't actually believe that Mirio is better than Izuku, he should get One For All. He believes that Izuku is probably the best candidate that could ever have One For All, but he also believes that he should have a plan B in stock, or the second plan or a backup plan ready if something happens to Izuku or anything else. Mirio should be ready, or someone should be ready to receive the quirk. And Nighteye hasn't actually seen Izuku's future. He actually stopped doing that after All Might told him to. He made a vow that he wouldn't actually check the future of anyone else's and just focus on the next move of his opponent. And that was also the same time where he met Izuku, so he didn't actually check his future. But if you remember back when Deku was fighting overall and everything, that was one of the times where actually Izuku changed the future, and he would say is like the only way to actually change the future is by actually really believing in it. I don't think that's why the future changed. I think it was an anomaly that made the future change, which was Eri's quirk. Now if you'd see when Deku was trying to take Eri from Overall, Eri activated her quirk at the last moment, separating Overall from his whatever transformation he was having, but that wouldn't have happened if Eri's quirk didn't activate at that point. So if Eri's quirk didn't actually activate at that time, the timeline and the time would have continued just like how Nighteye saw it to be. Now this theory actually got me thinking, is like, what if there was an anomaly that could change the future, and in this timeline there is, and it's Izuku himself, because from a time quirk or whatever quirk, that is an anomaly at itself, and Izuku went back in time. So Izuku is the only anomaly in this timeline, and he hasn't actually changed anything. Yes, he has cleaned the beach earlier. Yes, he has helped Bakugo with his personality, and if you think that, oh no, he helped All Might isn't as injured as he is in the original, well, yes, he doesn't have to be injured as he is, because he will still lose the same amount of time and will have the same amount of time as in the original, because he gave one for all earlier to Izuku. So everything is exactly the same. Izuku hasn't done anything crazy or anything else like that. He hasn't affected the main cast. He hasn't affected any villain group, anything like that. He has done nothing. He's just trained and gotten a lot more stronger. Same with Bakugo, but that wouldn't have actually changed anything right now. It would only change the future if they actually go to that exact point in time. For example, when Bakugo got caught, instead of Bakugo being weak and ended up getting caught, now he is stronger, so he wouldn't get caught, and that is when the future would change. But by that time, the future would already be changed, and it wouldn't really matter by that time. But for example, the entrance exam, that is a focal point where the future could change for Nighteye, by the way. So right now, if Nighteye actually goes to Izuku, touches him, and sees the future, he would see the exact same future as the original timeline. He won't say anything changed or anything like that, because the world still expects Izuku to be weak, him to know anything about One For All, him to actually have a weaker version of One For All than in the original. And Nighteye did not pick Mirio in this one. He's picked Mirio, but for a different reason, but he's gonna train him just as well, exactly the same, and nothing's gonna be changed. So everything that happens in the original is supposed to happen in this world, but Izuku's not gonna let that happen. So this is 10 months before the entrance exam. Nighteye has created his plan B, which is Mirio, and he's been training him just like in the original. And he's like, okay, wait, what if I just go to Izuku and check his future, so I can find out if Izuku would have to actually need a backup plan? And I know I said that Nighteye has promised himself, he's vowed to himself that he's not going to check the future of others, but he sternly believes that Izuku doesn't have to worry about the future for himself because he is so amazing. He knows martial arts, his instincts are amazing. Nighteye, by the way, also knows that he can get the previous quirks of the previous users, so he knows that nothing's gonna basically affect Izuku because he's like a fighting machine. He's supposed to be a hero with this quirk, so nothing can actually hurt him. So one day he goes up to Izuku and just says like, hey Izuku, and taps him on the shoulder, and that's when he activates his quirk because he wants to be slick about it. He doesn't want Izuku to know that he's peeked into his future because that's against privacy or something, but whatever. And you know Nighteye's personality, he would do whatever he has to do to get a better future, whatever. So he sees the future, and this is completely different. He doesn't see the Izuku who actually has a martial arts degree or whatever. Why did I say martial arts degree? There's no such thing as that. But is really good at martial arts and has battle instinct and has his quirk under control and doesn't break his bones that easily. But this time he sees a really weak and skinny Izuku who just got his quirk on the day of the entrance exam, is going and he's falling, he's tripping, and then he's messing up, he's nervous, he's muttering, and gets yelled at by this like guy with glasses. And then he sees that he completely destroys its arm and doesn't even actually take down any robots. And he's like, could this be the exact performance that he's gonna do on the entrance exam? There's no way. He just got his quirk on the day of the entrance exam, and Izuku already has a quirk. So he starts thinking, he's like, what the hell's going on? So Nighteye says goodbye to Izuku and he goes outside. He's still in the house, but he's trying to like contemplate on this. He's like, did I just see like an alternate timeline or whatever? And then he starts asking Izuku's mom's question. He's like, anything different happen? Did Izuku change in any way at some type of point? Because he believes that maybe this timeline is different, or maybe it is the right timeline and something happened to Izuku that allowed him to change. And Nighteye also believes that whatever that allowed Izuku to change in this timeline could also be something that allows him to change the futures of other people. So he's also going in for that theory, but he strictly believes that this is actually Izuku and he somehow actually went back in time. Now, he doesn't think of this theory right away. He thinks of it after like interrogating his mother, not actually interrogating, just asking some questions. Like he's going to Izuku's house and just asking his mother questions when Izuku's not around because he doesn't want him to question anything or what. So he came up with the theory that Izuku, when he was 4 years old and found out that he was quirkless, at that point in time he went back in time, however many years from the future, he came back in time and somehow attacked the doctor that was treating him. And he believes that maybe Izuku ended ended up being a villain in the future, and he hated the doctor who diagnosed him quirkless, so that's why he wanted to attack him. But no, Izuku always wanted to be a hero, and after finding out that he was actually studying martial arts to become a hero, and he also questioned his master and found out that he was really determined one day to actually become a hero, and he was getting beat up left and right, and he was taking the hits, and he saw the determination in his eyes. So Nighteye completely disregarded that theory and just thought maybe something happened in the future, which was a calamity that Izuku had to come back in time to save it. So Nighteye also starts investigating this weird ass doctor, whoever it is. So he starts investigating him. He asks Izuku's mother like who this doctor was, and he started investigating him, and he finds out that he's never at the hospital. He's barely at the hospital. He's doing his own thing, and Nighteye starts thinking, what is he doing in his own free time that he has to skip his job or whatever? And how is he getting his own money? Is he getting it from his grandson or whatever? But he might actually get money from something or someone who's actually paying to do something in his free time. He also visits Izuku a lot more often to check the future again and again, and he came up with the theory that by the time Izuku actually does the entrance exam, the future is going to change. So he has to record every single detail down. And he's not just watching the anime series, he's actually watching the boring stuff that Izuku's also doing. Like the main stuff that we see on screen, like he's also watching that, but he's also watching like Izuku laying on his bed and just his legs are all over the place and just watching TV or whatever. He's also watching the boring stuff. So Nighteye sees the USJ arc, he sees the sports festival, and I'll just make him see up to, let's see, the Stain arc. After the Stain arc, that's the exact, he can't see any further past that. So all Nighteye has to do right now is completely be sure that Izuku is from the future. So, and this is how he's gonna find out, is either he's gonna find out that Izuku does something or knows something that he shouldn't know, and he will definitely find out that Izuku is from the future. And he would actually start training Mirio and all the people in his agency a lot harder, because he knows that, or he suspects that maybe in the future there's a really big calamity is gonna come out. So he needs to train the next generation or whatever generation to get stronger, and he's gonna do that, and that's also basically a big plus for the future. So 10 months training done, Bakugo has basically done enough training, and he's getting really stronger. And then Izuku, on the other hand, he's got another quirk that he actually found out or developed, and it is a danger sense or some kind of sensing ability, which allows him to sense his surroundings through the floor or anything like that, kind of like from Toph from The Last Airbender Avatar, and also the pig guy, the boar guy from Demon Slayer. And this quirk allows him to do two things, which is a danger sense, which allows him to sense danger from things that can hide their presence, something like Toga does, and just sensing the general area. That's also what the ability does. And that is it, guys. That's 17 minutes. Actually, this is one of the longest videos I've ever done, and it's gonna take a lot more time editing this, so I'm gonna end it right now because I need to post it today, and it's already 5 p.m. and I'll probably start editing videos around 7 p.m. so I need to end this right now. And yeah, I hope you guys doing fine with all this quarantine stuff and Rona. That's what I'm gonna call it, because YouTube doesn't allow anyone saying the actual word and the virus. So yeah, I hope you guys are fine, and stay safe, stay home, and yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for my future videos, and as always, Anime Junkie out.
もしも僕が今晩のカレーを残さず食べたならよかったのかな。君はひどく顔をし